home games in Tampa to start the season due to COVID-19 restrictions in Canada. And that is how we begin our Friday afternoon on SportsCenter. We are excited for the next hour. By the way, do not worry. Adrian Wojnarowski, he is right over there. He is primed and ready. He's with us live for the next hour on SportsCenter.
And the battery is charged. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get right to a very busy 60 minutes. Fun times in front of us. Stephen A. Smith, Tim Legler, Richard Jefferson standing by, ready to join us. But we first begin with the biggest names who can start negotiations as the free agency window is now open in the NBA. Anthony Davis headlines the 2020 free agency class, coming off his first season with the Lakers and winning an NBA championship. Along with Davis, Brandon Ingram is the other free agent who seems sure to get a max deal this summer after making his all-star debut in his first season in New Orleans. And I say this summer, that means this fall, because we are less than 5 weeks away from the season. Other notable free agents in this class including Gordon Hayward and Fred VanVleet. NBA insider Adrian Wojnarowski, as promised, joining us now. So a year ago, and it was last summer, very active. Of course, this is very different times. What kind of activity are we expecting tonight as well heading into the weekend?
Yeah, this isn't going to look like the Kawhi Leonard free agency, Paul George trade. It's not going to look like that necessarily tonight. And I think you'll see the deals maybe not come as quickly as last year. This isn't a free agency period with a lot of cap space, and there's not a lot of incentive around the league to spend a great deal of money, given that there's not fan revenue right now in the pandemic. But we're going to see things get rolling tonight.
We do have star power, though, and let's start with the defending champs. That is the Lakers, and Anthony Davis, officially a free agent now, but he isn't expected to go anywhere. What more can you tell us about this window?
Yeah, I'm told, Kevin, he's going to wait at least through Thanksgiving and before he starts to really engage with the Lakers about what kind of a deal he's going to do. He will be back with them. You know, one option for him is to do a 3-year deal with an opt-out after the second year. That would line him up contractually with LeBron James. They obviously share the same agent, Rich Paul. He'll be back with the Lakers. It's just a matter of how long does he go with his deal out of the gate here.
One fascinating backstory is Gordon Hayward. He declined that $34 million option that final year with the Celtics yesterday. What more can you tell us about his future and his decision?
It's still pretty wide open, and he's pretty open-minded still about a lot of places, including going back to Boston. It's not out of the question. He could, despite the fact that he opted out, that he could re-sign with them. Indiana has talked with Boston. Obviously, he is from Indianapolis. You know, that's appealing, but there's still a lot of destinations through the sign and trade market. He can get a long-term deal with a team that doesn't have cap space by working with his agent, Mark Bartelstein, and the Celtics, where they can get some players back. And there are still a lot of sign and trade scenarios I'm told Hayward is open to around the league. And so we'll see how that plays out here today, maybe into tomorrow. You know, it'll be interesting to see how quickly that resolves itself. The Knicks have the cap space and the interest to sign Gordon Hayward.
All right, keep that in mind. The Knicks, they have plenty of cap space. The Hawks have plenty of cap space. We'll see how this plays out. And Woj is already back to business with the phone. Sage, to you.
All right, Kevin, how about the Greek Freak? Once again, Giannis has some attractive options available. Again, he can sign a 5-year Supermax deal this offseason or next at over $45 million per season. Should he take a Supermax from another team next offseason, it would be just a 4-year deal at about $36 million per year, and that is significantly less. We're joined now live on SportsCenter by Stephen A. Smith. And Stephen A., you know how much Giannis could get from Milwaukee, $228 million over 5 years. So in your opinion, what should he do? Should he sign that Supermax with the Bucks or not?
Well, I'm going to always encourage somebody to take the money. Let's get that straight, Sage. You're talking about an excess of $70 million that he would be passing up if he didn't sign with Milwaukee. So we understand that. Now, obviously, a consultation or a consolation prize, rather, would be him going to a place that has no state income tax, meaning Florida or Texas. That would basically mean Miami. But I doubt that will happen. In the end, here's the big thing to peel from this. Bogdanovich, you thought you had him. But ultimately, they messed that up, you know, because now they're being investigated for tampering charges, and that deal has fallen through. That guy can play. He is going to be somebody that adds something to the equation. Now, if he goes to Atlanta, you have nothing to worry about. But let's say, for example, somehow, some way, the Lakers are able to get their hands on him, maybe in a sign and trade, something along those lines involving Kyle Kuzma. Then you've buffered the Lakers roster, and you've basically eliminated any chance of Milwaukee winning a championship. I'm certainly not saying that will happen, but those are the kind of things that have been discussed over the last couple of hours. In the grand scheme of things, Milwaukee is good. They're one of the elite teams in the Eastern Conference, but do we look at them and pencil them in as champions eventually? No, we do not. And that is the kind of thing you wanted to make sure you put yourself in position to be, so you can ensure re-signing Giannis. Now that that's not the case, I don't know what to make of it, because Giannis isn't talking to anybody. We presume that he will ultimately sign with Milwaukee, but we simply don't know.
Again, the addition of Drew Holiday, a good one, but is that enough for Giannis to make his decision to stay? So we'll see what he does as he stays quiet right now. Meantime, another star who recently made a big decision is James Harden, and he turned down that 2-year, $103 million extension from the Rockets. Woj reporting that his sole focus remains on the Brooklyn Nets. As for the Nets, their GM Sean Marks, he was asked earlier today about whether or not he would mortgage the team's future for a star player. Stephen A, here's his answer.
If you put it like mortgage the future, I would probably say no, right? You know, there comes a fine line where you say, okay, look, this is what we're willing to do, not only in a trade for a star player, but every trade for that matter. We want to build something sustainable here. You know, this is not something that's a fleeting moment, like, you know, go all in and, you know, a year or 2 years from now, we're sitting here going, all right, well, great, now we got to completely rebuild all over again, and we don't have the assets to rebuild with. So there's the other side where you go, look, take advantage of what we have right now and take advantage of the moment. You know, we obviously have, you know, a talented group that we can put on the floor as is. Until we know what deals are being offered or we're offering, you know, it would be difficult to say. But by mortgaging your future, Stefan, no, we wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah, Sean Marks, I don't think he said James Harden's name once at all there. Probably pretty smart. But he's talking to his fan base, his team, but also talking to the Houston Rockets, Stephen A. So what do you think the likelihood is that Harden gets what he wants and gets to Brooklyn?
Well, I still think it's a 50-50 proposition, but let's give major props to Sean Marks. I mean, he danced better than Fred Astaire, Michael Jackson, and Sammy Davis Jr. all rolled into one, God rest their souls. The fact of the matter is, when you look at what he's talking about not mortgaging their future. Karis LeVert can play. Spencer Dinwiddie can play. Jared Allen can play. And certainly you don't want to give up multiple picks. But let me remind everybody, James Harden and Kevin Durant ain't approaching 40. Both of them are age 32. They've got at least 5 years left in this league at a very elite level. But who's to say Kevin Durant's going to stay in Brooklyn for that long? Signed a 4-year deal, 3-year in the opt-out. He didn't play this year. He's got about 2 full seasons left. You better win a championship if you got Kevin Durant on your squad. He's coming off the Achilles. You don't know whether or not he's going to be 100%. We know Kyrie Irving is injury prone, and what you have the opportunity to get is a 3-time scoring champion, one of the most prolific scorers this game has ever seen, and he wants to come to your squad in Brooklyn, not Madison Square Garden, Brooklyn, with KD and Kyrie, and you're going to sit up there and say, we don't want to mortgage our future involving Spencer Dinwiddie and Karis LeVert. I love those players. They've got a lot of promise, but they ain't KD, they ain't Harden, they ain't Kyrie. Sean Marks needs to stop that stuff and stop dancing as much as he's dancing. Or maybe he can dance and just say, hey, I'm dancing right now. Y'all figure out what the hell I want to do. But he should want to get Harden, and if he has to give up those assets to get him, you go ahead and you do it, because it's Brooklyn, it's KD, it's Kyrie, period.
Stephen A., maybe it is strategic, talking specifically to Houston, bring me something good.
Sure.
I want a deal.